in this video talking about the full moon in Virgo. If you're seeing this, then this is for you. Full moon in Virgo. Bringing a highlight to the Virgo Pisces axis, which I'll show you here in a moment. The connection between, or the meaning behind, the four mutable signs, the Grand Cross and the mutable signs, it's part of it. Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, in Pisces. Speak about that a little bit. What else? Hello, how are you? Welcome in. Hope your day is going well. Thank you for the like and the subscription. Come to the perfect place. This live is for you. I have a whole script and notes here, but I'm gonna surrender it all. I might refer to it, but I'm freestyling here and incorporating grace and patience as I'm kissed by the sun through the glass, which is a little warm but enjoyable as we approach the spring. First of all, are there any questions? Much peace and many greetings to you as well. Hope your day is going well. Any questions about this full moon? I want to make it about you first, being that you're the first ones here, the lucky ones. What comes to mind when you think about the full moon in Virgo? I'm feeding off the comments. Like bees feed off flowers, I'm going to feed off the comments. Talk about it. Questions, comments, answers, feelings. When you say feelings, I automatically think about the moon. Hi, how are you? The moon symbolizes feelings in astrology, and it also symbolizes reflection. The moon symbolizes the nighttime or nocturnal actions, rest. Even though you see the moon sometimes in the daytime, still. Still a symbol of night, and night is a symbol of the shadow or darkness, which is not a bad thing. It's a reflective thing. And so with the moon, the symbol of feelings, in Virgo, the sign of refinement, there's feelings to fix. I just did a video. I posted a video. Check it out later. It's a short video on the full moon in Virgo. However, there's an energy and a frequency to want to fix. However, there's a twist, there's a catch to that. We're gonna get into that a little bit. Talk to us about the eclipse along with the full moon in Virgo. How does that work? Well, I'm of the mind that it can be interpreted potential energy and a potential frequency of fixing and reflecting on not only fixing, but how you fix. Do you fix in a manner that's rushed, hurried up? Do you fix in a patient and composed manner? There's a difference between the two. There's a difference between the two. Virgo is the sign physiologically that points to the small and large intestines. Physiologically. So it's possible that this full moon eclipse in Virgo not only point to the small and large intestine, but when we look at the function of the small and the large intestine, we can kind of get an idea of the frequency or the energy of this full moon and what to reflect on. In the intestines, if we were to look a little closer at the functionality, we can check this for yourself. You can see that in the intestines, it absorbs nutrients. Maybe it's this full moon eclipse is a time to reflect on how you absorb things from other people, like the things that people say. How do you absorb it? If someone offends you, are you super defensive? Or do you take a moment, do you absorb it, and if it's not for you, you just keep on moving? Some things to ask. Salute. Peace and wellness, how are you? Hope you're well. I'm feeding off the comments. Questions, what comes to mind with the full moon in Virgo? We're talking about it here. Let's talk about it. You had absorption issues in the past? It comes full circle now. It comes full circle. Key motto for Virgo is analysis. The moon symbolizes feelings. Key word for Virgo is analysis. Simply analyze the feelings. How do I feel? I shared with my mom this morning this book, The Body Keeps the Score. I think it's a good book. I haven't even read the whole thing. But just that sentence, the body keeps the score. And being more intentional about observing how I feel, where I feel it. I mostly feel it in my shoulders. Mostly. So I'm constantly checking my shoulders. Where do you feel it? Analyzing where the score is kept. Excuse me, I'm blazing in the sun, loving it, but it's new. You're welcome for the info. In addition, Virgo corresponds to the small and the large intestine, and there are a lot of nerves in that area. A lot of nerves. And I find that fascinating because the nervous system the central nervous system, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is key for health and wellness. For health and wellness. Welcome in. Any specific rituals you're doing under tonight's moon? It's actually said that when it's an eclipse, not to do any type of ritual. Do what you will. Do what thou wilt. For me, to answer your question, it's happening early in the morning tomorrow. I'm not doing anything tonight. I'm going to continue my routine. Rest, sufficient rest. And I guess I am doing something special. I'm resting. That's special. I might rest a little longer than normal. But I'm not doing any organizing of materials and doing any chants or any of the such. While you ask that, what comes to mind is this video that I watched of ancient North American practices when it comes to the eclipse energy. The ancients, I heard, had a certain respect for the sun and the moon, and they didn't do anything other than stay inside and not look at it. It's completely different from nowadays. We go outside, we put the glasses on, we look at it. Ooh, I've even done it before, but that's what I heard. And I think I'm gonna practice that moving forward. Just letting it be a time to pass by, pass through. But to each their own. What's interesting to me, I was talking to someone yesterday, and I asked them if you could pick one word for Virgo, what would it be? And they said perspective. And so we went a little deeper into not only what they thought about the word perspective and how it ties to Virgo, but also to look up the definition of the word perspective to get a deeper meaning, as well as look at the root meaning of the word, the etymology of the word. Speaking of analytics, specifics and analytics, which is a key word for Virgo. Analysis of details, reflecting on the details, reflecting on the specific meaning of words, even. So yes. Feeding off the comments. Questions, comments. What comes to mind when you think of the full moon in Virgo? Thank you so much for all the comments. I appreciate you. Yes, thank you so much for that comment. I appreciate you. I would agree. I want to bring you to exhibit. Let's go to exhibit A. Here. Can you hear me? Okay, testing, mic check. I'm doing something different with my volume. Mother's thoughts and planning. That's an interesting, yes. If we were to look at Virgo as the mother, right? If we were to look at Virgo as the mother, before I did this video, not for nothing, sidebar, did I take a picture of it? Let me see if I took a picture of it. I read in this book a while back ago that I don't know what group of people it was, but I think it was archaeologists or anthropologists or something of such. They do their researching and digging, and the zodiac sign Virgo was actually at one time not a maiden, it was actually an angel. It had wings. And when I was doing this video, I was like, Ma'at could be the symbol of Virgo as well with the wings. And I was like, I wonder if they mimicked the wing or the wings from Ma'at. I don't know. It's a theory. But anywho, Virgo could be symboled as a mother. I think that Mother Teresa is the attribute or an archetype that corresponds to Virgo. Not for nothing. I think. I'm working on not looking at my notes. But, yeah. Peace and wellness, how are you? Welcome in. Wings and scales. Virgo is about refinement. It's about agriculture, perfection, order. And Ma'at is Lady Justice, order, perfection, refinement, the measuring of the scales. There's a similarity. I want to go back to this question. I got distracted. Cindy, thank you so much for being here in your comments. I appreciate you. I think you've left already, but thank you so much. Appreciate you. If you're just getting here, welcome. Questions, comments, I'm feeding off the comments. I'm letting it all go. Letting it hang out. So feel free. Feel free. I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know if tonight is the night. I know what you mean by tonight is the night, but tonight is the night that the full moon, it will be a build up to the full moon. Yes, the moon is occurring, the fullness of the moon, which is denoted by its opposition to the sun in the east coast of the United States. Actually, for the solar system, it's 12 degrees and 53 arc minutes. What's rising varies through location. For those in the east coast of the United States, Pisces will be rising. So it's happening around sunrise. positioned in the 6th house, and the sun is positioned in the 12th house. So if you have planets that are near the 12th, the 11th, the 12th, or the 13th degree, there's significance there. If you have planets that are situated in the 12th house and or the 6th house, there's significance there. It's like a match, it's like a pair or a mirror, if you will, symbolically. A potential mirror. Now another fascinating feature to the full moon in Virgo, we talked about analysis, paying attention to details a bit more, as well as health, hygiene, and as well as the foods that we eat and the regulation of the nervous system. Virgo is an earth sign, so potentially grounding yourself. The practice of grounding is actually putting your skin on the earth. Not sure if it's warm enough for you to ground by having your socks and your shoes off or touching the ground. It might be cold still. If you can do it, you can do it. If not, then the regulation of the nervous system is another way to ground yourself, to bring a sense of order and refinement to the feelings or to the body. A very important part of the body is the regulation of the system. Very important. So important. I was watching this video, so many videos, so many people that practice the regulating of the system. It's profound. And it's all based on being calm. Like the regulation of the body and all these fancy techniques used simply is calming yourself down. Are you able to calm yourself down so that you can even pick up the specific details? Can you humble yourself to even pick up the minute details? Welcome in if you just got here. I'm feeding off the comments. Questions, What comes to mind? Full moon in Virgo. This is actually the chart of that moment. This is the chart of that moment. You're using an acupressure foot massager. Let's go. Form of health. I assume that brings some form of health and wellness to you. A way to relax the system. Another feature to this full moon in Virgo that I'm not sure if you've heard about is the connection between the full moon in Virgo and Mercury in Pisces. There's a connection, a direct connection between the two. In that Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, and it's far from its home. Virgo is one of Mercury's domicile places, meaning that it's comfortable there. It operates well. Same way that you may operate a little bit better in certain environments. If you observe that, that also is the case for the school of thought around tropical astrology. Mercury is at home when it's in Virgo, or the ruler of Virgo here. Tables off balance. Perfect. Or better. Virgo health, Pisces feet, yeah. Virgo, small intestine, large intestine, where absorption occurs and nutrients are absorbed to take care of the system, the different organs. Pisces, the sign of rest. You know, nourishment, Virgo, rest, Pisces. Reflexology, health, wellness. Mercury in Pisces, which is Virgo's ruler, creates this dynamic between amplifies and highlights the relationship between health and how we analyze things and our belief systems. How we utilize belief systems for health and wellness. The kicker to this relationship that's formed is the full moon in Virgo creates this energy of wanting to figure it out, wanting to refine and have order. However, the ruler is in Pisces, which is a more feeling sign and a releasing of order and details. So it's a little bit more laxed on precision, and it heightens the feeling base. One of the words that I have used is surrender. Not surrender to denote weakness or being too soft, but surrender to give back. Pisces is symbolizes a dissolve, a letting go of that which no longer serves you, and or giving back so that you're not the controller. Virgo wants to control. Pisces is about letting go. Those are forever in a relationship with each other. And in real time, we can look at how the relinquishing of control is beneficial. It's like a release, relieving stress. Sometimes we take on too much. It's kind of interesting. Taking on too much and then being stressed out is similar to eating too much food. When I eat a lot of food, my body shuts down and has to go to sleep. It has to let go just so I can digest the food. I think of Thanksgiving, when you got 8 hours of sleep, maybe, and you eat all that food, and some people call it the itis, some people there's many different things that you can call it, but it's a matter of the body shutting down so that it can digest all the food. Accepting, right. A little serenity there. A little serenity there. So although it's a full moon in Virgo, and there's still an energy that you may notice, a drive within you to want to find structure and order and to control things. But in another sense, there's something that's saying let it go. Wow, that sun moved pretty fast. Minutes. Welcome in if you just got here. I'm feeding off the comments, talking about this full moon in Virgo. Thank you for the likes, subscriptions, the shares. Letting go. I've let go of my notes for this live. was at a point where I thought that taking notes would allow me to do less knowledge, less detail. I'm learning to let that go a little bit and then go off the cuff. Stop trying to make it seem so perfect, which is a Virgoian trait and quality, reflecting on perfection, not to be more perfect, but to observe it and analyze it and to just be. Let it dissolve. Those are all the bullet points are reached. I've reached all the bullets. Now I'm feeding off the comments as I go from the sunny side to the shadow side, mimicking the full moon eclipse, which essentially is about feelings and reflecting on feelings and reflecting on grounding the self for health purposes. It's one of the biggest features to this full moon, which is not only for the duration that the moon is in Virgo, but it carries all the way for a 2-week duration leading up to the new moon in Aries. That kind of ties the new moon in Aquarius that we had to the full moon in Virgo to the new moon in Aries. Aquarius, Virgo, Aries. This is the moon's cycle. You're going through a grieving process right now. Okay? Everything you have said applies to me, though I'm a Libra. Does that matter? It does matter. It all matters. It all matters and it doesn't matter. And for you to say that the things that I'm speaking about applies to you, to me and for me, what comes to mind is Virgo in your chart and potentially Pisces in your chart are amplified for you. If we look at Libra and we consider the relationship, mathematical relationship at first, from Libra to Virgo, I know this is Libra on the 8th house cusp, and this is the moon in Virgo in the 6th house, right? However, if we were to treat Libra as the rising sign, we're going to keep it over here though. We're just going to imagine that Libra is the first sign because you said you're a Libra. Then I'm going to look at Virgo as the 12th sign of Libra. So in layman's terms, this full moon in Virgo, this eclipse, may potentially be a cycle and phase where you recognize some of the hidden aspects of life. Virgo wants to critique. Virgo wants to bring about the specifics or the nature of it. Right? The 12th house in some conversations, it's given a negative connotation. The 12th house is said to be the house of secret sorrows. This is what everyone, or a lot of people, most people focus on. The sorrows. The frequency of sorrows, the energy of sorrows in a person's life. However, I am of the mind that it also is a place of hidden potential. Because as I go through sorrowful things in life and experiences, through that, I recognize some spots where there's potential for improvement. Something happens there. Something happens. If we look at the relationship between Libra and Pisces, and we were to count Libra as one, Libra 1, Scorpio 2, Sagittarius 3, Capricorn 4, Aquarius 5, Pisces would be the 6th house. Now, you may not be a Libra rising, and that's okay. However, the relationship from Libra to Pisces is the 6th house, 1st house, 6th house. So it ties in kind of what this relationship of the sun and the moon are experiencing energetically, which is health and, in your case, sorrows, the grieving. I would share with you, okay, you're a Libra rising and Libra moon, I would share with you this. Because the moon is in the 12th house, the full moon, the transiting moon is in the 12th house. There's maybe a benefit and value to you by balancing your emotions through techniques where you are allowed to regulate your system, your nervous system. Mainly because this full moon eclipse in Virgo, when we apply the sun and the moon to your chart, it's a 12th house focus, which is a house or theme surrounding sorrows, as well as hidden potential, and 6th house. Themes surrounding health and wellness and the nervous system. Therapy, maybe, but we don't have to go right to therapy right away. You could start looking at that. That may be a healthy action to start shopping around. But I'm of the mind that there's something that you can do right now. And I would say it's a matter of regulating your system right where you are. I'll share with you, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, consult your primary care physician. What I've been using, I can only share with you what I've been using. I've been using intentional, coherent breathing. Some may call it meditation. I no longer call it meditation because the word meditation at its root does not mean breathing exercises. The word meditation at its root means to contemplate or to ponder and sit with an idea or a thought in totality, which I would like to think that it involves a regulated nervous system. But we'll get into that in a later video. I would share with you, or I'm sharing with you, what I've utilized is intentional, coherent breathing. As simple as this. Some call it box breathing. You pick whatever sequence works for you. Inhale, 4 seconds maybe, hold it for 2 seconds, exhale, and have a sound when you for 6 seconds. 4, 2, 6. Try that, do that 3 times. Let's say you do that 3 times and you're still grieving. Ask yourself, hey, do I feel a little bit better? Because if we feel a little bit better, then there's progress. Let's say you did that for 3 breaths. Maybe we want to do it again. You're like, I like that. I feel a lot better. Let me try to do that again. 4 seconds, hold 2 seconds, 6 seconds. Wow, I feel a lot better, but I'm still a little grieving. Ask yourself, hey, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Like, the body keeps the score. And these are ways to apply a check for your own system, your temple, your body, your system. Not to stop the grieving is part of it. I'm of the mind that the grieving is part of it. It's both good and it's bad. It's necessary. It's part of the process. But as a Libra, or as someone who was born at a time where the energy or the frequency was about balance, you were born at a time where the day and the night were equalizing. In essence, they say birds of a feather flock together. You're a product of your environment. Even in indigenous cultures, they named their child that had to do with something that was happening within the immediate environment. I'm of the mind that the time that a person is born, that we take on the natures of the nature around us and what's happening with nature around us, specifically the journey of the sun. You were born when the sun was in the part of the journey of balance and finding a balance. Because the main focus of the current cycle that the solar system is in is health. The full moon in Virgo, if the universe was talking, if the universe, let's say the solar system, because we're talking about the planets within the solar system. If the solar system was talking and the moon symbolizes a motherly energy, then the solar system is saying, be healthy. Simple. Be healthy. If the solar system was talking, it would not only say be healthy, but it would also say get some rest. Relax. The 12th sign, Pisces, is a dissolving sign. Let it dissolve like a bouillon cube dissolves in the soup. It's dissolving makes me think of a falling apart. I want to look in my phone to look at the root meaning of the word dissolve, but I'm not going to do that. I'm on a quest. But when I think of dissolve, we find the word solve in dissolve. So it's not solving. It's blending, it's mixing, it's letting go. It's a form of letting go, I want to say, without looking at the root meaning of the word. Maybe. So maybe perhaps the full moon involving the moon and the sun in your chart is a matter of you releasing and letting go and accepting. As you maintain this balance with accepting, letting go, releasing, and checking on your health. As simple as asking yourself, hey, are you thirsty? What's written? Are you thirsty? When's the last time you had a drink of water? It's about 7 hours ago. Let's get a drink of water. Are you when's the last time I ate? Wait a minute, I had a damn Krispy Kreme all day. Let's see about having something light, maybe a soup, a banana, an apple, or something. Might be hungry. And I say that because studies show that there's a direct connection to our mood and our gut. They say listen to your gut. I only said it after they said it, or after it was said. Pretty sure my great grandmother said that. So if we're listening to the gut for psychological and sensing qualities, maybe it would be beneficial to listen to it when it's asking for a drink or for something to eat. How does this chart show indicators of current events? Or should I save that question for the Cosmocrat? You can do whatever you will. You can place that question here. I didn't put a limit on the questions. And I would, if I were you, I would do both. You know what I mean? I would ask the Cosmocrat too. You know? This chart shows the indicators of current events when you look at the nature of this aspect here. Let's look at it. We can open it up into a mundane, which is worldly perspective. health and details of the health. I'm not, so I'm not sure on all the current events, news events, because I don't really stay up to date with that stuff, because I'm of the mind that I feel like it's fear installation, and so I don't put that as a priority for myself. But if you were to look at the current events over the course of the past two weeks, almost here, going on 2 weeks and 2 days, you may see some Piscean themes. Secrecy. Pisces is a sign of secrecy. Pisces is a sign of that which is hidden. Now, I have seen and have swiped by, because I do social media a little bit, and I've seen their talk about Epstein and the files and that connection to other secrecy and hidden things that are hidden, and it's big. Pisces is hidden. There's leaks, information being leaked. Let's look at the moon in Virgo with details and specifics. Specifics about hidden, that which is hidden. Mercury, the ruler of Virgo in Pisces. Mercury, the ruler of Virgo in Pisces, going retrograde, going back to some conversations about some things that were hidden, that were missed and skipped. But now that we come back to it, we find another layer to it. Pay attention to that. All right? What's fascinating to me is how geometry plays a role in astrology, and how geometry kind of has its own communication as well, right? So when you talk about current events, over the course of the next 2 weeks, with this full moon, notice the details and the specifics, and still continually ask yourself, like, how do I feel when I hear this information? Because Pisces reminds me of taking a rest. You know, Virgo's health, Pisces is rest. Like, when you absorb all the information, if you are wanting to know more about it, you can get the answers from it by stepping away from it and regulating yourself. But what I was trying to say is I was trying to incorporate not only Pisces and Virgo, because the sun is in Pisces and the moon is in Virgo, but also adding in 2 other zodiac signs. And the other 2 zodiac signs are the zodiac sign Gemini and the zodiac sign Sagittarius. Now, the reason I'm adding those in, because all 4 of these zodiac signs have something in common. Does anybody know what these 4 zodiac signs have in common? Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Anybody? If you don't know, you can say, I don't know. So Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are the 4 mutable signs. They all have the same modality, or the same mode, if you will. They are different elements. They all, each of them share one of the four elements. Excuse me. Fire, earth, air, and water. Which in some schools of thought is considered a consecration. What I'm trying to say is that not only Pisces with belief systems and Virgo with details and the analysis of details as well as health, but also philosophies and religious perspectives and information. And so information, belief systems, religion, and health and specifics, all four of these are part of the energy that's created in the solar system. Even though there's no planets in Sagittarius, even though there's no planets in Gemini, they're still part of what's going on with the relationship between Pisces and Virgo, because they all share a modality. So they work together for growth. And you can see this through, for example, with what's written. From what you've shared, there's a direct growing process between regulation of your system, or to, in layman's terms, to be healthy, and your thought processes. There's a growth there. Gemini is the sign of mindset, thought processes, and Virgo is the sign that deals with health. These two signs are of the same modality, and they can either create a tension and or a period of growth. Both mercurial. Now you started picking up what I'm laying down. And so mercurial. Mercury is in the sign of Pisces. So in essence, it's kind of like health is involved with surrendering. Health is involved with belief systems and letting go and dissolving. Information is part of and is received. There's a growth between receiving of information when you're in a state of rest. That can either be Virgo or Pisces. Information is absorbed when in growth through information, through surrendering and letting go. There's growth there. And from that information, right, and letting go, there's an expanse. There's another expanse and growth and wisdom. When you look at details and specifics about a situation, there's growth and expansion. The sign of expansion, Sagittarius, there's a growth. Sometimes there's tension when you're trying to put together the details and to get this knowledge or this wisdom. There's a tension, there's a growth, because maybe the pieces aren't connecting. It's like a puzzle, right? There's a challenge with seeing the whole puzzle, the big picture, Jupiter, Sagittarius. When you're putting each piece together, there's a challenge there, but once you put it together, there's a growth. There's so many different ways that we can comprehend. Like Gemini could be in mundane, it could be the news, right? Let's look at the news and the information that's being spoken about. There's some tension with the details and the specifics, right? There's some tension with confusion and misinformation and all of that stuff. Right? There's tension with belief systems and religion, they're 90 degrees. Look, I almost got the perfect 90-degree angle here with my pointer finger and my pinky. Let's see if I got it over here. I do got it. 90 degrees. Anyway, so to answer your question is you can look at a chart to determine what's happening in the mundane, worldly events. When you start looking at the zodiac signs of these individuals and you start plugging it and plotting it into the chart, there's a little more revelation that comes about when you apply the principles of astrology. There's some connections. The same way that a detective makes connections in the case. The astrologer makes connections through symbolism. The same way that an individual reads the body language that tells the story. Puts the pieces together. It's interesting how Mars just recently ingressed into Pisces. The wave of experience from a sign that deals with knowledge naturally after goes into a state of seclusion. Not for nothing. Truth sets you free when you're in it, but if it's not maintained, then it becomes lost immediately. What I'm trying to say is, in addition to that, Mars in Pisces is motivation, an energetic or a frequency of motivation behind keeping things in the dark or hidden. But I'm more concerned, or I find more benefit from applying the astrology with things that I can work with and maneuver and control, which is myself most of the time. Even that I gotta let go a little bit and surrender. It's part of the 12. So with the worldly and the mundane, take breaks to digest it too, because if you're just absorbing so much information, you can get lost, which, not for nothing and for something at the same time, if Gemini is the zodiac sign of information, then know that whatever information that you're receiving, there's a possibility and potential for there to be some confusion. Pisces is rest, and it's also confusion. There's growth there through that process. Sometimes you gotta take a step back. Notice how Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius are 4 mutable signs, which are, they deal with adaptability, how one adapts. This full moon in Virgo and the sun in Pisces are on the axis of adaptation. So it shines a light on how you can adapt. And if the solar system were talking, it would say, adapt. Adapt to your circumstances and your environment. Relax a little bit. Not relax like do nothing, but become the observer. Pisces is an internal sign. Virgo is an internalized sign. So that's the full moon eclipse in Virgo. It may benefit, you might find some benefit by digressing, slowing down, and plugging in or looking at where Virgo is in your chart and assessing how that could be incorporated into your life. You said they're on those cardinal points? Cardinal points by positioning because of the houses, or the mutable signs, the mutable cross? That's an interesting point that you make. For those in the east coast of the United States, at the time of the full moon, which I think there's a significance of the snapshot, or what the sky looks like when planetary alignment is exact. Oh, those are your sun signs. I got it. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So it's a time for adaptation for all of you in that regard. To adapt. You know, adaptation, what does that look like? Adaptation looks like, hey, how do you feel about how are you seeing things? And everyone, the other 3 parties being quiet to, let's see how they're observing that. Oh, wow, you pick up so many details. Oh, wow, you see it like that? Oh, I didn't know you seen it like that. Oh, you seen it like that? Wow, wow. How about me? How did you see me? Well, I seen you like this. And so, wow, 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 I didn't even see myself like that, huh? And so you're picking up information, right? Let's go to the next person. Okay, hey, how do you feel about how things are going on right now? Oh, wow, well, how do you see me? Wow, I see you like this. I see you like that. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Well, you see me like this, they see me like that. I had no idea that now we got 2 pieces of information. We got 2 pieces of information, and those details, right? It opens up a perspective and leaves room for refinement. You know, refinement. And then you get an opportunity. Oh, well, I see you like this, you know, peacefully, respectfully. This is how I feel. You know, take it, leave it. Put it to the side. It's the truth of the matter. This is where I'm at. And then we look at and see how we can work, how we can adapt to it. What's the remedy to that situation? You know, even if we don't do what each party wants, that there's a meeting, a little bit of politics, if you will. It's all part of it. You know, be mindful of Mars here. Now that Mars is joined in on the party and Venus gets ready to leave, right? It excites things a little bit. We may want to, the energy there may be a frequency of wanting to hurry up to actuate change. So Mars attempts to hurry things in an environment that has just been filled with Saturnian energy of patience and structure. Now here comes Mars. Want to hurry up? Come on, let's go. Saturn's gone. We got to get shit going now. You know, when it comes to belief systems, when it comes to surrender, hurry up and surrender. Hurry up, let it go. We got stuff to do. So there's a need to check that over the course of the next 2 weeks and then revisit it. Maybe revisit it at the next new moon in Aries, because we go from full moon in Virgo with refinement. Although Mercury is in Pisces, this full moon in Virgo has a lot to do with surrender, because Virgo, the ruler of Virgo, is positioned in Pisces. Surrendering, accepting, letting go. Right? And so we're headed towards, in 2 weeks, is it new moon in Pisces? Hang on a second. Wait a minute. It is a new moon in Pisces. I said Aries. It's a new moon in Pisces at the end of Pisces. Excuse me, I misspoke. Yeah, it's a new moon in Pisces. So, new moon in Aquarius, full moon in Virgo, new moon in Pisces. So knowledge and belief. Knowledge and analyzing the belief systems. A phase of knowledge and knowing, highlighting the details, and then a phase of belief systems. What makes this great is awareness of possible energies and the recognition if and when they present themselves. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's perspective. It is a system that has been used since the beginning of time, I think. Not that I was at that beginning of time, maybe. Depending on how you look at it, but you know, imagine having no lights and nothing but the moon, and noticing that, hang on, every time the moon, it took 28 days for the moon to be big like that again. Wow. And every time the moon looks like that, we can actually go outside and hunt at nighttime. Like, to be able to track nature for improvement. And now it's come to this. Fascinating. Inherent potentialities. All right, so that's what I have. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the likes. And I'll see you in the next video.